You were a perfect target for a scam in that case. So everyone got the email?
Yeah,
really?
I was one of the few who went for the interviews.
Everyone thought it was a scam.
I mean,
Jesus Christ.
I think so.
Being cynical is just like not a good thing.
Vabandage. That was the phrase. And
which means sorry.
Yeah, which means
for
sorry.
any listeners.
Yeah, which means sorry. Now I didn't know how to pronounce it.
Sorry.
So I was like, I went to the guy and I was like, Vabandage. He understood what I meant, but he laughed.
Vabandage.
They're expecting you to speak a different language, most probably English. So their face is straight. As soon as you go to them, you're like, you speak even the basic phrases, you would see a smile on their face. Right away, the expressions would change.
If you know Estonian, we will take it as a compliment, but for us to be friends, like it shouldn't be like a condition.
Essentially, it is a very important part of any country or any culture. So they gotta preserve it, and if any foreigner is coming in, I think they should make an effort on that end. I am trying to.
Yeah.
So now I can say yes, they definitely should make an effort.
I mean,
you need to have something in common. A free shout out to Daily Meetups. I'm not going to charge you for that. This has been an amazing platform.
Everyone takes it as already like a compliment. Like, oh wow, really cool. Like an Estonian actually approaches me, asks me where I'm from, actually shows interest. And for me as an Estonian, it's like so easy to do. Hi, this is the Integrated Podcast, and my guest tonight is Sohaib from Pakistan, and we would like to talk about how has it been integrating in Estonia, and what would he recommend other expats do, and maybe what not to do. But first things first, how did you get to Estonia?
Well, actually, I was doing my bachelor's last semester, and Yumna asked me. She was like, "Do you know about Estonia?" I'm like, "Yeah, definitely, I know about Estonia." Didn't say anything else. Went home, Googled it, found out it's a country. I didn't know anything about Estonia, so I did some research, and then next day I met her. I was like, "Oh yeah, Estonia, really cool. Like, digital society and all the buzzwords that are out there." Used all of them, and kind of gave her the impression that okay, yes, I know about it. That was my first introduction with Estonia, but then we're actually looking for options for doing our masters, and typically in Pakistan the options are like, hey, you should go to UK, you should go to Australia, maybe try US, all the big names. And then that was the second time we were like, okay, Estonia might be a good option. A friend of ours was studying here already. We spoke to him and he gave us some initial information, how to apply, how to do XYZ, helped us decide the universities and with the process.
For how long were you already together with Yumna?
Actually, for 6 months. We met in the last semester of our bachelor's. So
back in Pakistan.
Back in Pakistan. Yeah. We were in the same university for last 3.5 years, but we met during our last semester.
Wow. Yeah, so you didn't know each other, and then you sort of somehow met, maybe?
We had a mutual friend, and I had heard her name, but I didn't know her.
Right.
So for the first time, we met during some society event. We used to have a marketing club at the university. So we met for one of its events, and I was like, "Oh, you're Yumna." I've heard a lot about you.
So 6 months, and you decided to take this leap together.
Yep.
Just there's Estonia, and how did Yumna come about that? So you had that friend who was already in Estonia. And sort of, so it very much was like a word of mouth thing. It wasn't like, hey, a job offer, or hey, there's a university or this special, sort of degree that we could go into.
Yes, it was a word of mouth thing. Yumna knew a lot about it. I didn't. So I learned about it. And then I trusted her judgment. I was like, okay, that sounds cool. We evaluated the pros and cons, and we decided, yeah, it makes sense. We should do it.
So, okay, so how did you go about in that 6 month sort of, I guess 6 months was that preparation time, how did that look like? Like, did you already like check out what's the apartment, what to do there? I don't know, how to earn money, like whatever. How was that?
Actually, it took us about 1 year after that to
Okay.
prepare for the whole
So you
thing.
made a decision.
Yeah, we
And then-
kind of
okay.
briefly talked about it. Then we started looking into universities. Our initial plan was both of us were going to Egypt for Isaac Leadership Program, and we were like, okay, we'll go there. We'll prepare some documents in the meantime. Then when we come back, we'll apply for.
B visa, I think.
No, we'll
No.
apply for
Was it?
the master's.
Oh, master. Okay, I thought
Application. Like
right.
we'll
You were
decide the
young.
university.
You were
No,
young
really young.
before your careers took off essentially.
So we like spent a lot of time looking into universities, looking into programs. We came across TalTech, made sense. Like, okay, there were not a lot of options. The only option that was related to us in English was MA International Business. So we decided to do that. Made sense career-wise for us. And then, unfortunately, that was also the start of COVID.
Yeah.
So we got admission, so excited to come. And then before like we could go and apply for the visa, university decided that they're not going to invite students this year. I mean, some of the universities decided that. TalTech was one of them. So then we had to wait for another year before we could come to Estonia. So in that time, we applied for our visas, like went to Turkey, got the visas, went back to Pakistan. Then before the semester started, came to Estonia.
So, I mean, I think it's a good thing to actually, to be together for like 2 years and then go into a whole different culture, because it can be a bit risky when, even though you're like really certain in, wanting to stay together, it's still a bit of a risk. And so maybe it was a good thing. Maybe fate was, fate was like, hey, here's COVID. Don't worry, you'll be fine. And sort of, anyways. So you got to Estonia, and so how much did you prepare before arriving?
The only thing I knew for sure, I mean, two things. The first one, that I'm going to study at TalTech, this is the program, and the second one, that I'm going to be living in dorms. Other than that, I had no clue. I watched some videos on YouTube, but that's all like fancy stuff, Christmas market, drone shots, different videos of forests, and I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Would you say that's a good strategy, like in terms of because I think quite often people can sort of overanalyze and overthink and want to be really prepared, but specifically in terms of Estonia, like we do market ourselves, I think, really like well, like really like on point, really well. But it's like, yeah, like considering that you didn't know that much, maybe it was a good thing. And then what happened when you like first got here? Was it like a bit of a shock, or was it like, yeah, it pretty much fits the marketing materials that you sort of like went through?
In order to answer that question, I'll give you a bit of background about the person I was or I am. So I spent most of my life in boarding schools. Well, most of my conscious life in boarding schools. I went to boarding school.
You've been unconscious for...
I mean,
yeah, I get
you're
it.
a kid.
Yeah.
You don't really know what's going on with you. So, and that was one of the reasons I didn't really think too much about it. I had lived and moved from one place to another, and it was quite natural to me. I was living as an expat in my own country. Well, as an outsider, because I was living in a city that was like 4 or 5 hours away from my hometown. And I would go back like once a month, maybe. That was easy. I mean, once a month and something like this. So
to see your parents and like to see basically anyone from your like, let's say, former childhood in a way.
Yeah. So I didn't really need to think too much about it. I was like, whatever is coming, I'm gonna be ready for it. So when I landed here, I'm coming from Pakistan, loud country, lot of people like it, and everyone's talking everywhere. I get out of the airport, sit in the tram, and no one's talking.
Yeah.
That was the very first shock for me. I'm like, what?
It's like zombie town. Like,
are there like
not that bad.
people in this country?
Yeah. Yeah.
are they so civilized
Yeah.
that they
So-
don't talk? Like, what's going on? I couldn't comprehend that part.
Yeah.
Then we got off in the city center, took the bus, and went to TalTech. And I was like, oh, university, no walls. It's like open area. And okay, nice. Rainy day. I think it was like Saturday morning or so. Then the guy who came to pick us up, he told me, "Yeah, it's weekend. People don't go out in the morning, and it's Monday morning."
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed. Exactly.
Yeah.
That was one of the first few shocks for me. But overall, it has been amazing, I would say. These things aside, I did process those shocks. I learned to get through them. And eventually, I started loving all the things that were scaring me or surprising me in that sense.
Would you say that, let's say, someone with really, I mean, nowadays, more and more sort of ADHD is being diagnosed, more and more sort of just it's difficult to focus. And would you say Estonia is particularly good for that? Like especially if you contrast it with Pakistan, like where, like you say, like there's a lot of stimuli, and in Estonia there just isn't. So maybe it's maybe if you do want a place that is like it's not like nowhere, like in the middle of like nowhere. It's still a very, very digital society, everything civilized, but at the same time you do want that peace that necessarily doesn't come with bigger cities that are like actual meccas of business and so forth. But if you want to like combine these two things, where you want to like, yes, you want to work, you want to make a career for yourself, but at the same time you want to do so like peacefully, would you say like that's a bit of a selling point, perhaps, in a way?
Well, I happen to know someone who got diagnosed with ADHD in Estonia from Pakistan, and that person did not like peace and quiet.
Really? Dude, no, hey, dude, we can talk about it. I have ADHD. Yeah, it's very
because I think it might have something to do with the background and your upbringing, like the social environment that you are used to. He was used to, always there's always something happening around you. You have a lot of people to meet, you have a lot of people to talk to, and if you want to do something, there's always like a million things to choose from. And he was used to that. So when he was here, every time, like every day, even he would have like 2 hours free, he would call, "Hey dude, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Working." "Why are you always working?" "I'm coming over." "I'm coming over. Let's do this, let's do that." And like he had always something going on inside him. Yeah. I don't think he loved the peace and quiet in that sense.
I've never thought about it like that, but yeah, I can sympathize in the sense that it's you do start to sometimes overthink and like create pseudo problems for yourself if you have that. Let's say, yeah, even like if you have every day, it's like I like to do this deep work sort of a thing where it's like from 9 to 3, just try to focus, do your whatever index card, whatever 1 to 3 things you have to do, but at the same time, in the back of my head, there is still this thing where I'm like, why not like, have my schedule full of like exactly like socializing, doing all this stuff. And then I have to like remind myself like, no, dude, this is why Estonia probably is where it is, in that we like, we like to work because it's just like a thing where if exactly we don't have those distractions. That's, I mean, a good parallel, yeah, for me as well is I studied, yes, in the Netherlands, but thank God I didn't do so in Amsterdam because, and very, yeah, thank God, because like, in Amsterdam, like I've heard you have, friends there, like things are going around and like I would never have graduated there. I'm 100% certain. So, okay, so essentially you went to a dorm. Let's bring it back to your first, your first year in Estonia. You went to the dorm. How was that experience? Like, I've never actually, I think, asked anyone about the dorm experience of TalTech. So is there, I don't know, are there parties? Are there like, stuff to do? Or is it just about like, studying, make a couple of friends, but that's about it.
So at TalTech, one of the things that I noticed was they kind of move you in together with the people that might have same social background
Oh,
as
really?
you.
Wow.
So in my case, the first apartment or dorm room that I moved into, it was a shared room. So and two rooms in one apartment, and every room had two people. So like four people in total. You were sharing the common areas, living together. Two of them were from Pakistan. One of them was from Afghanistan. So it was not very different in that sense. Yes, it felt very new. It was a new place, so there was certain element of newness in there. Uh, Overall, the country was like new to me, so I was trying to process the whole move. Uh,
It's a
but
really good transitional method in a way,
it
like, to
is,
put you together with the same, people from the same culture. I didn't know that was the case, actually. That's the first time I'm hearing about that one. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for some people, it's really good. For some, it's not.
Really?
I've heard different feedback from different people. So for some, it was like, hey, you know what? We came to a different country. We wanted to like, meet new people, live with new people, like learn about different stuff. And what am I doing? Like I'm living with the same people.
Right.
There's no difference. For some, it was like a good thing, especially for the ones who had, let's say, never left home before or never left home for that long. It was good that, okay, they had someone that they could talk to, relate to, spoke the same language, and share stuff for, and like get comfortable with, at least at the beginning. So the feedback has been different from person to person, but in my experience, yes, it is a good thing. It is a good thing indeed.
In the form, when you're like signing up for your accommodation, like, is there really no option to state clearly that that is what I want? I want to be brought together with different people. Maybe even go full specific. And I mean, studying Estonia could take note. Like, that's actually, I think, a very valid idea, because that first year, that's kind of, especially in college, like that makes your experience in a way. I mean, it definitely did mine. Like, most of, I think living in a dorm back in the Netherlands though, but it's probably the same thing in Estonia, where the first year in the dorm, you do make your friends. Like, it sort of gets wider as you go along, but that first year, I think it would be nice to personalize the experience in a way, like, hey, you, for instance, would like to meet different people, different backgrounds, and maybe even at some point, I think, mentioned, like, what different like nationalities you sort of like to, I don't know, meet and like get along with and whatever. And how cool would it be if like you could choose the nationalities? Like, hey, I would like to live with people from these backgrounds. And but is there a reason like why like studying Estonia or TalTech in particular haven't done that and haven't gone like, hey, special, like personalize your experience?
I don't think it has anything to do with studying Estonia, because this would go down to like it come to university's personal preferences. Tallinn University, they don't have the system in place. TalTech does. In terms of your question related to choosing, I don't remember any specific fields. I think they were just like you could choose the buildings, but you couldn't like specify what you exactly want. You can choose whether like you can select options for individual apartments, things like that, but I think there's a long wait list for those things. So when you're new, like it's your first time, it's always easier if you move into some shared dorms. Then about the second part of it, I think it would help a lot, like in addition to this, if there were like all the dorm buildings, they had some sort of a common area where people could socialize instead of like putting them together might not, like it works for some, it doesn't work for others.
For how many people was like one common area? Was it like, I don't know, 20 people might chill there on a Friday, something like that?
Nothing. There was nothing, like no common area. I'm just saying.
Oh, you're saying
as a suggestion.
Just like hypothetically, if
hypothetically, if there was,
nothing.
that might have been a better idea. Like for making people more comfortable, but unfortunately it did not exist. At least I hadn't seen.
Yeah, yeah. So, but was there like a third place, something you could call like a third place in TalTech in particular, like somewhere where you could go outside your lectures, classes, and I don't know, you might see a friend there or something like that?
Normally cafe area. That was the only place. I mean, library was mostly for studying, but you could see some familiar faces there. That is it. If there were other places, I'm not really aware of them.
And Yumna was living separately?
Yeah, she
And
was
that was
living
like,
separately.
okay.
At the beginning, we had different buildings. I think one thing that comes to my mind is there is one building in TalTech where they have like this cafe and some social area where they have some events and parties. But since it was master's program for us, it was all about focusing on learning something different, something new. Generally, also like the second concern was, hey, since we're here doing our masters, let's find a job, use these skills, get some local experience. So like we're in that age or that specific zone where the focus was not on parties. It was more like, okay, let's learn something and then let's use it practically.
Yeah, yeah. In that, before we go into like full, career and job, like how's that in Estonia? About your like particular, so your degree, your master's degree was, what was it called exactly?
It was MA International Business.
Oh, okay. So literally, basically, like MBA sort of.
I mean, kind of similar to MBA, but this is a 2 years program. So.
Okay. And do you feel that? Do you feel jealous of the students studying today as they can use ChatGPT, or, or is it like, thank God, like you? But would you have been tempted to use ChatGPT at certain points? And I don't know. No.
Not really.
So you're very like principled, like I'm here to study, I'm doing this for me, and okay, very nice.
I mean,
very nice. Yeah.
I came from a different country to Estonia in order to study.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't do that at the very least, I mean, that's just being dishonest with myself side.
Right. Yeah.
I wouldn't even think about it. I was aware of some AI tools at that point. They were not very popular, but for work, I was using some. I was exploring some. There were like some tools called Word Hero, and I can't even remember their names, but they existed. They were just not really popular. ChatGPT, when I think ChatGPT 2 or 2.5 came in, it kind of brought those tools to public. It made people aware that, hey, this thing exists and there are possibilities. And then like everything is in front of you.
Yeah, and then GPT-3 was the one that was like really, a huge leap, I suppose.
It was indeed. Then people adopted it like on a mass scale. Everyone at this point, I think everyone is using ChatGPT.
Yeah, of course. Would you say when it comes to, and yeah, we will definitely get to, the whole marketing, AI, that sort of a topic as well. But when it comes to your degree, do you think, yours in particular, do you think it will change that let's say TalTech or whoever, like, I guess, has the authority to make changes in the curriculum? Do you think because of ChatGPT, these changes might soon happen, where it might be, for instance, like, let's say you have to, I don't know if you ever had to write essays in some coursework, or I suppose, right, obviously, and definitely reports and financial reports, that goes without saying, that obviously could be assisted by ChatGPT. Do you think they will end up, let's say, not even end up, like 10 years, but in like a couple of years, within 5 years, sort of integrating, in other words, giving permission to students to use ChatGPT, but because in a way, like, it would be a smart thing to do, because what else, do we go to college for than to tend to know how to do our jobs? And if we will use in our jobs ChatGPT and all the rest, then why not already start preparing for it in a way?
Well, to some extent you answered your own question, but
I
hope when it comes to that, I hope so. I really hope they do, because education, like, it it has a different purpose. It's not just about being able to write a report. It should evolve based on the times. And mainly, let's say if I did my master's, the focus was to learn different skills, different, like, develop a thought process that would help me excel, or learn about new skills, meet new people, build connections, things like that. It was not about, like, just to learn how to write a report. I could have taken a class in any part of the world, like how to write a good report. Or even YouTube was quite popular back then. I could just
really
I could just watch a
It
video.
was 5 years ago. It's
Yeah,
YouTube.
yeah.
Pre-ChatGPT times.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is what we had. But would you say that, yeah, bringing people together, like that aspect that you're right now, I think this is something, like anything that we can now do with ChatGPT, we should take resources, like, not even, I don't mean money, but like, what do students spend time on, and uh, take that time that they now, let's be honest, save on, putting together reports and like essays and so forth. Yes, there should be a course for that where you literally put, pen on a paper, and I absolutely agree. I think it is a crucial skill to develop critical thinking and so forth, and just putting, forming thoughts. But I'm somehow, I am feeling that in the past, couple decades, and especially, since, like, we have seen in the university experience that it's it has less, like, it has been lessened the social aspect of it. And have you felt that, like, you came here, 2021, you had, right after COVID, and but you also have the Pakistan university experience, like, so you've been in university, you were almost, like, you had that experience over, I guess, almost 10 years, like, in a way, like, as you were also studying in Estonia, so until 2024, I believe. And so almost 10 years. Would you say in that span of like 10 years, when, you have social media, you have gaming, Discord, all these sort of online activities that now time is, students spend their time in, would you say that has changed and maybe like reduced in a way the offline social experience in universities? Like, maybe you have like noticed, and especially if studying in Estonia.
If we talk about, like, general offline part of it, life away from internet, then yes, it has reduced a lot in the last decade. Now, even myself, like, I spend a lot of time online. Either it's about, like, learning new skills, work-wise, we're working remotely, we're not working from office, so that's kind of online entirely. We're not, like, talking to people face to face. If it comes to, let's say, socializing, now it's all about texting and video calls and things like that. So yes, that part of life has evolved, and it has evolved for everyone, not just the students.
But I especially, like, I just feel, I don't want to say like I feel like sorry or whatever, but it's in a way, like, in the university, this is where you're supposed to really get your bearings, how it is to work with other people. And it's just, I'm not at all sure that having classes online, or like having, it's not even, honestly, having classes online and just doing like the lectures online, I think that's fine. But like working with each other as a group, like actually coming together and working, instead of being like, okay, let's, divide the tasks and have a call in like a week with each, having done their parts, and then, I don't know, put together a report, a presentation. It's just like, if it was a case that they would actually like meet and like, work together, and then in their work life, like, then they get to like choose, like, okay, like, I know what the experience is like. I know how it is to actually brainstorm together in the real world. And then you would choose to, work remotely. It would be like, yeah, I'll give that one a shot as well. But now I have a feeling like more and more students don't even get the experience of working together face to face with their teammates and so forth. but maybe I'm too much of a cynic. I haven't had like a university experience after 2021 in a way. So I don't know what's been going on for the past
you are right. Well, I wouldn't say to some extent, mostly. Uh, that experience has changed, and for us, it shaped us who we are, and like how we talk to people, how we get along, and it was an opportunity for us to learn about people and working together like as teams. This aspect certainly has changed. If we talk about online classes, there are both pros and cons of it. Uh, Pros wise, it's like convenient. You don't really have to go to university. No matter where you are, you can do it. On the downside of it, as you mentioned, if there are group tasks, like you're not meeting people face to face, you're just texting online, like same as usual, hey, let's do this, let's do that. Most of the stuff is done by ChatGPT, so that that part that part got impacted severely. Hopefully, in the coming years, with all this tech evolving, with AI tools, universities would figure out like a better way to teach students new skills. And to some extent, I personally feel like it has a lot to do with with you as an individual as well. Like, what is it that you want? If you would like to have, let's say, more in-person activities, you can choose to do so. Still, like it's a choice now. Uh, in our case, like especially during our bachelor's, that used to be a necessity. We didn't have any other options. But now it has become a choice. So you can choose what you're more comfortable with.
Oh yeah, right. So you literally, yeah, those 2 years that you studied in TalTech, you literally, yeah, that was lockdown. So you had fully online courses then.
No, actually, we had physical classes. When I came to Estonia, some of the restrictions were easing, and we were allowed to go to classes. Sometimes classes were online as well, and so we got the best of both worlds.
Okay. Yeah. And I mean, already, like you came here with Yumna, like you already had someone that you could always sort of hang out with. You were never like stuck in your room. It's just like, because that was, yeah, that was, I'm sure there many were, and that would have been terrible. But moving on, on from that first year, so you were in dorm, got out of there, sure made a ton of friends, like with your roommates and so forth. What happened in the second year? Second year of studying? Did you move together with Yumna? And yeah, how was that process?
Actually, during the second year, I got married. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
Very
you.
cool.
With Yumna.
Oh really? I figured.
Yeah. I'm sure
it would have been cool if like you were like, oh yeah, it's complete with someone. Yeah, online. Just did it online and like.
So we moved in together. Life changed significantly. It reminds me of one of the issues that a lot of students and even a lot of expats face in Estonia. And there is like this whole social thing going on about Estonia that, hey, it's really hard to socialize. It's really hard to, be a part of the local life in here. And initially, in my case, some of the things that helped joining study in Estonia, that was one of the best things or one of the best decisions that I made.
How many internationals like are there, like volunteering?
All of them.
All of them are
Study in
internationals?
Estonia is basically a program under Education and Youth Board, and their focus is on promoting Estonia as a study destination, as a preferred study destination. So all the ambassadors that they have, they are international students who came to Estonia for their studies. The main management team, they are locals, really good people, really supportive. But the ambassadors or volunteers, they are international students.
I had no idea. I really, so yeah, I always thought it's like 50-50, that there are still like, like a bunch of Estonians, but okay, that's actually a good thing. So
there are two types of, sorry to cut you off, there are two types of ambassador programs. So there are ones that are at university level. So every university, hopefully, I mean, I know UniTalTech has, like, and some other universities, they have their student ambassador programs, and in that, there are both local and mostly international, but there are locals there too. Study in Estonia is a national program. So in there, they only have international students.
Was it difficult to sort of be, was there like a job application process, interviews to get to study in Estonia? And yeah, like for anyone who's thinking like, okay, I would like to have exactly that social, you need, I mean, I know that the community and tribe and whatever, it's such an overused word nowadays, but you need that community. I don't even know what's a better synonym for that right now. But I guess that's one way of finding it. And was it difficult to like break into that like study in Estonia, community for the lack of a less cornier word?
It was actually quite easy. One thing that helped, like not a lot of people know about it, and the same guy who helped us come to Estonia, or in that decision, when the program opened, like Study in Estonia invites new student investors once every year. So at the start of every study year, they open the applications. You can apply to become a student investor, and he shared the post. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's try that. So the requirement wise, it was like, if you want to be a student investor, then obviously you have to do something. It could be, and since the focus is on promoting Estonia, that means you have to create content, either blog posts, social media content, videos, like anything that you are comfortable with. You can choose between them. I had reasonable marketing experience, so I applied for it.
Is that what you said in your application form? I have reasonable marketing. They're like, well, good enough.
At this point, I wouldn't say I was an expert, because over the last few years, I have learned a lot. But I did have some content writing experience, and I applied for it. Shared the same thing, like I have this, I would love to be a part of it, and this is how I can add value to the program. I joined as a student investor. After a few months, there was a need to, I think it was after like first 6 months, when the second semester started, there was a need for a community manager in order to assist all the student investors, like with ideation, the type of content to create, blogs, things like that. And since not all international students have marketing background, luckily I did have some. And
reasonable marketing
reasonable marketing experience. So I was given this opportunity. I became a community manager, and then mainly the job was to share some new ideas, streamline the content, do things like content calendar, help students plan their.
So it is really, you were like wearing all hats. It's about marketing, I'm sure, because when I think community manager, it's also like people like come to you with problems and stuff. Like was it also that?
Kinda. That was the role, to help them with their ideas, review the content that they have written, give them some insights, like, hey, this is how you can improve it, or maybe like this is how you can refine the topic, because sometimes the opinions would not exactly be aligned with the goal.
Right.
So
nowadays, you can just create a GPT for that. It's like always keep them aligned. I mean, that's what I've had to do.
Now it has become a lot easier.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things there was, for all the content that was being created and that is being created, one of the core has always been authenticity, because at the end of the day, it's about sharing your original experience. So if you want to use ChatGPT, that's not exactly going to be your experience. And that is one of the things that I think has become a core foundation of Study in Estonia as a program.
People just telling their very personal experience, even if it's even if there is some criticism sprinkled in, it's still like they are being truthful. But when you do have like an blog article by Study in Estonia, like, is it okay, like exactly authenticity, like is it okay to actually, let's say, I don't know, criticize that the dorms don't have a common area or something like that? It's like even if it's not even like nitpicking, it's actually it would be nice to have a common area. Like, is it okay, or is there still certain restrictions and certain limitations that you have to rules that you have to stay in? Like yeah, sure, tell us about your personal experience, but if it's okay, keep whatever you didn't like to the minimum. And yeah,
And I mean, there are no such restrictions in that sense. It's
Mhm.
about sharing your experience, and that means there could be bad things.
That's
Uh,
good.
it's just that, okay, don't be political. It's a
Yeah.
forum that has been given
Yeah.
to you as a student ambassador. So
Mhm.
share your authentic experience. Your suggestions are most welcome. Share
Mhm.
them. If you think there is something that can be productive and helpful for others, do that.
Mhm. It's the
But
only way to improve.
yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, how terrible would it be if, like, no, like, it's I don't care about your criticism about the whole common room, the lack of them, or just a random example based on our conversation. But I absolutely agree. Like, the political thing is just yeah. If it's not something that we can improve upon, like in terms of Estonia in general, or the study experience here, or TalTech in that particular case, it's what's the point of talking about it, that bit of negativity or whatever.
yeah, it's like constructive feedback.
Yeah, yeah.
Give or share anything that you think can help improve the system.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just whine about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I guess next question would be about because you are coming from such a different culture, you and Yumna, how is yeah, just to switch gears, like how have you changed, and how is your family? Yeah, like have they said anything like you becoming more Estonian or direct, or I don't know, in some ways like you maybe changed.
They haven't said you're becoming more Estonian, but
Have they been here like a couple times? They probably have been
actually,
here a
not
couple
my
times.
parents.
Okay.
They haven't been here, uh, but there are certain things that become a part of who you are. So, for instance, I became more organized, which I wasn't. I guess it also comes with, let's say, maturity, work life, things like that. Uh, the most Estonian thing is I became more direct in a lot of things in my communication as well. So
Working in Malaysia, is that sometimes a problem being too direct, because Asian
sometimes, yes,
culture isn't
sometimes, yes, my team might say they hate me for that.
Can you
Uh,
maybe bring not doesn't have to be a one-on-one example, but maybe if I went, let's say I go to Asia, let's say I go to Malaysia, and I work with a team there, what is something like somewhat from your own experience that I shouldn't say, and that maybe caused problems you once? Doesn't have to be a one-on-one like an example, but something.
okay,
Yeah.
so when I came to Estonia, one of the things that I kept guessing, I started working with a medtech company. They were in medical technology, developing software solutions for hospitals and operating rooms. And I would work and get no feedback at all. Like,
An
if
Estonian company.
Estonian company, local company, Estonians, pure Estonian,
Huh.
no
Okay.
feedback at all. And
Interesting.
I would feel lost
Yeah.
sometimes. Then, if something would go bad, they would let me know, hey, maybe change this, don't do that. Or
A patient died. Like, hey man, what's the deal?
a few months,
Maybe you could have told me earlier. Okay, go
yeah,
on.
a few months down the road, we were having a conversation, and my manager, she told me, she's like, don't worry about it. If we're not saying anything, that means everything is good.
Mm.
If something would be bad, we'll let you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of became a part of me to some extent, not completely. Now, how it affects my team at this point is I try to say, I try to kind of memorize that I need to say something good about their work. Or generally, I would be just like, hey, change this, change that. And they keep wondering, like, what is, okay, that was the bad part. What is the good part? And during my last visit to Malaysia, we had that conversation with my team. They were like,
In their culture, do they say the positive stuff like
oh yes,
constantly?
that
Okay.
is really important.
Right.
It's like general
Yeah.
Asian culture. You need to let them know that this is good
Okay.
and this is bad. Like clearly differentiate everything, communicate. Don't say bad stuff too directly. Like don't be too direct. Kind of try to hide it behind good words. So I had to like rewire my brain to do that. And as I was saying, we had that conversation. They told me, like, can you be a bit more clear with your communication? Like, let us know what exactly is working. And I mean, we already know what is not working. So that was the context of the conversation. I wouldn't explain the whole thing, that would be too long. But yeah, that is something that I adopted in Estonia. A few other things, for instance, walking.
Walking.
Yeah,
you learn to walk.
You learn to walk. Basic human
Took you 20 years, but you made it.
Like, even before coming to Estonia and Pakistan, we have this culture of like taking cars, bikes, like motorbikes, cycles, like whatever you have, you don't walk, you just use that. And if the distance is even like 300 meters, you would use whatever you have. In Estonia, it's quite common, like, hey, that's 2 kilometers away, let's just walk. And I got used to it. I love it. And even when I go to Malaysia right now, like that's a place where I go most frequently these days, I talk about distance in terms of walking, like how far is it? Like, hey, it's gonna be 20 minutes walk. And they look at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
They're like, in this weather, you're gonna walk 20 kilometers at 20 minutes. Why don't you just order an Uber or like grab their local version of Uber and Bolt? Why don't you order that? I'm like, no, I feel more comfortable with this.
I'm saying it's. I'm honestly everyone like all my like Estonian friends, do that same thing. Like they do take an Uber pretty much anywhere, and it's a thing where I definitely differ, like completely. I'm not Uber, sorry, Bolt, of course. Keep it's like it's blasphemy. But basically, like I either public transport or walk, or only if we really need to. Even the car thing, and it's sort of I've never thought about that being like an Estonian thing, but now when you mention it, I think it kind of is. But all right, so going back to the professional life. After school, like you said, you went to the medtech company. I think you mentioned that they kind of contacted you, if I'm not mistaken.
That is true.
How did that come to be? Because that must be a pretty unique experience, especially in this job market.
Never happened to me before, never happened after.
All right.
I think it was like second or third month of me being in Estonia, and one day I got an email like, hey, we have this job for digital marketing.
Just to give some context, where you already graduated fully?
No. It was like my second or third month, if I remember correctly.
Wait, so it was
I was still studying. Yeah, I was new here. Just arrived, like it's been a couple of months. The initial time, I was still trying to adjust to the new life in here. And plus I had a broken arm, by the way.
A what?
A broken arm.
Broken arm.
I broke my arm while I was riding scooter. Scooter.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there depressed in my dorm, and I get this email. I talked to Yumna, a couple of other classmates, and they got the same email. Initially, I thought it's a scam. Like maybe it's some kind of a new scam. But I was kind of desperate. Like I was looking for a job. Like
you were a perfect target for a scam in that case. You were desperate, and you were.
Yeah,
I probably this
like
guy.
one arm is hanging around your neck.
This guy's
and
desperate.
You're sitting in your dorm.
Let's scam this guy.
I need to have something. Took a leap of faith. A lot of people that I talked to, they never went. One of the guys did, and when he came back, he told me, like, yeah, it's a real company. I went there. So I scheduled my interview, had a really good conversation with them. They were like, okay, come back next week. We want to talk to you again. I'm like, sure. Went back again, discussed a few things, discussed the experience, and they were like, okay, welcome to the team.
But like, how did they even like single you out? Like, hey, let's go. Like,
they got the details from TalTech, and then they invited us for interviews. So they sent the email to, I believe, all the new international students for that specific program.
Oh,
I was one.
So everyone got the email?
Yeah,
really?
I was one of the few who went for the interviews.
Everyone thought it was a scam.
I
Jesus Christ!
I think so.
Oh my God. I mean, like, yeah, sometimes, yeah, like being cynical is just like not a good thing, man. It's, yeah,
Yeah, it was crazy. Like for a few days until I
can
actually
imagine.
went to that office, I kept thinking about it. Like, what
There's no way.
could be, like what is
Yeah.
going on here? Is that like an actual job offer?
Mhm.
And the email format is like really casual, general email. No footer, nothing, just a basic email. And I'm like,
Not even a footer?
like
What?
it had a footer,
You
but
gotta have a
it like
footer.
just like with one tiny logo and name of the person, phone number.
Right.
And I'm like, sure, that is a real company. But it turned out to be a real company. I worked with them for 2 years.
Mhm.
So during my studies, I worked with them. After graduation, I decided to switch jobs, had different career goals,
Mhm.
found a better opportunity, and decided to switch.
Mhm.
But it was an incredible experience. Actually, a lot of my knowledge about Estonia, it comes from them.
Yeah.
I made some really good friends, all locals. I was the only foreigner in the company.
That's exactly, that was going to be my next question. Like, how was that experience? How big was the company, or like at least what was your team like, and how many people? And
So the team mainly consisted of developers, a couple of engineers, I would say, like technical guys who would build stuff, then salesperson, main, let's say, member of the board, then another person who was kind of wearing multiple hats at the same time, and all of them, they were obviously not in my age group. At the beginning, it was a bit weird. Like I had to learn how to communicate with them, how to speak their language, like not
not
Estonian,
fully
but
Estonian, but yeah.
but yeah, the how to communicate with them properly, to get
Mm.
their feedback, to understand what they mean when they say something,
Mm.
all of that.
How did it
Luckily,
differ from like Pakistan's? Like, so we talked about directness. What was like some other thing that you really like surmised that is like, okay, that's the Estonian way of communication?
I mean, I I wouldn't say like that was the Estonian way of communication, but
Estonian way.
one thing was like understanding the general expectation from the role that they had.
Mm.
It took me a while to figure it out
Mhm.
because they would ask me to, oh yeah, like do anything that you essentially want to do, but you can't do anything. That means you need to figure out what needs to be done.
Mm.
It was a completely new industry for me. I had never worked in that. So B2B and especially like med tech, that was quite unique for me. And plus their target market was like mainly it was Finland.
Mm.
So that was another problem.
You didn't know, yeah, that was another.
Massive language barrier, but
Yeah.
it turned out to be good. A few months down the road, like some of their developers at that point, they went for their army training.
Mm.
That
Army. Wait, so they went to the army?
Yeah,
Army
they
training?
were there when
And they
I
were
joined
there,
the
and then they
company.
came back.
So after a few months, they came back, and they were young.
Mhm.
And actually, like after they came back, the experience kind of changed a lot
Mm.
because they were in my age group. We would talk a lot, learn. I would learn a lot of things from them. They would teach me a lot of things. They would learn different things from me.
And they just came from the army, so a lot of these things are very, the kind of stuff that you learn in the army. Spending
Yeah,
like 11 months together with other 50 other guys, I guess. Like,
indeed, indeed.
yeah. How did they comment on the army, by the way? Like, to you, did you talk about the Estonian army experience? I'm sure at some
Yeah.
point you must have asked, like, okay, how was it? Like, very recent memory, I guess.
Initially, I was curious about it. Like,
Yeah, of
why
course.
do you have to do it? That was the
Our neighbor is Russia. Like, that's why.
At that point, I didn't have a lot of cultural
Right.
context, and
No, of
I didn't
course.
really think about it because in
Mm.
Pakistan, like population is massive,
Mm.
so
So it's not mandatory
Yeah,
at all?
it's not.
Okay.
It's not.
So you have enough guys who like want to do it,
Yes.
and it's like, yep, guys, like we can't.
It's
We'll
like
have to put on
it's
a
like
limit.
a job. You apply for it, you get
Right.
selected, and like that's how
Okay.
kind of the process
You're
goes.
very lucky, put it like that. I think that's a very nice policy.
Yeah, I guess you guys are lucky as well. It comes down to the specific circumstances that you are in, like or now I would say we are in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it is indeed a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was quite new for me. And then I would ask them questions. So how was it? Why did you do? How did you do? Like what kind of things? Like, oh, did they let you use guns? And all kinds of like stupid questions, anything. I would ask them anything that would come to my mind, and it was the same for them. They were, since I was the only foreigner, and especially from Southeast Asia, culture-wise, really, there was a massive difference. So they would ask me questions about culture, religion. They would ask me like day-to-day life, anything that would come to their mind.
It's like, were you allowed to use any guns in your household?
They would. So we would have those
Yes.
conversations. We would exchange phrases in our languages. So
can you tell me a phrase in Estonian? That's actually a bit of a recurring thing that I want to do.
I mean,
you can...
okay, Estonian-wise, language-wise, I can speak the basics. So
wait, really?
I mean, the
you
basics.
Can say like I don't know. Marcos. That's cool. All right.
The basic communication, I can do that. I tried to learn a tongue twister. It would sound like kumitos.
Yeah, like, I think, I don't know the exact word.
I try to memorize it. I forget it all the time.
Yeah.
But it sounds like kumitos. Kumitusi.
Even I don't know. So it's but would you say that was important, the language aspect? Like, were you incentivized by something to actually try and learn it? And with those guys, for instance,
it made things easier. The very first thing I noticed, like in Estonia, is I'll tell you an experience. Let's say I'm approaching someone, and even at a store, they see a foreigner coming to them, and they know that, okay, he's going to ask me something. They're expecting you to speak a different language, most probably English. So their face is straight. As soon as you go to them, you're like, you speak even the basic phrases, you would see a smile on their face. Right away, the expressions would change. They would start smiling, nodding, and they kind of give you a different treatment. It was the same with the guys. Even with the team, I started learning different phrases. So when I would go to office, I would use those phrases. And sometimes I would say it right, sometimes I would say it wrong. But it still helped to break the ice between us. For instance, I read in translation, Vabandage. That was the phrase, and
which means sorry.
Which means
for
sorry.
any listeners.
Which means sorry. Now I didn't know how to pronounce it, so I was like, I went to the guy and I was like, Vabandage. He understood what I meant, but he laughed.
Dude, this is actually even better.
Like, that's a good way to say it.
I'm gonna go with that one. Going forward, I'm gonna...
that's a good way to say it, but that's not how you say it. But it helped to break the initial ice and communicate with them, discuss different things. Then they started inviting me. Hey, we're going for lunch. Do you want to join us? Do you want to do this? So
that's the thing. Like, it's such a shot in the dark in a way. Like, what kind of people do you get assigned with when you onboard? Like, and that was, I assume, like a smaller unit as well. It's compared to Wise and Bolt and so forth. You can at least have some chance of finding friends across teams. But in your case, like whenever it is a smaller startup, you really are. It's a lottery. It's a complete because I really hope that someday all the Estonians, at least most of the Estonians, are like just like that. It's sort of like, hey, they already respect you trying to first of all learn the language, but they don't expect you to like know it just so they would then start socializing with you. By which I mean that I think it would be really great if it was their, I don't say privilege, but their opportunity to speak English and like sort of do it vice versa. That hey, you are trying to learn Estonian, but at the same time they should also, that's a great opportunity to have you in the company now, to speak English with. And I hope that more and more Estonians sort of inhabit that mindset, that it's like, sure, if you know Estonian, we will take it as a compliment, but for us to be friends, like it shouldn't be like a condition. I think like, because it is such a difficult language. Let's be honest. I mean, it is to fully like, hey, we are only going to speak to you if we do so in Estonian. Like that's such a tall order. Like it's so difficult.
Personally, I feel like it goes both ways.
Mm-hmm.
And as you mentioned, in my experience, Estonians, they don't expect you to speak perfect Estonian.
Yeah.
They love seeing you make an effort. Language, in any society, language plays a crucial role towards even the local integration. So when it comes to foreigners, there is this general assumption, which sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not, that Estonians are really cold. I've noticed that it's not the case all the time. Sometimes they are just shy.
Yeah, true.
They can speak English, but they are kind of afraid of speaking it or talking to you. Sometimes they are not in the mood, man.
Yeah.
Like you don't have that energy in you. It might be, a situation, circumstances. It has some to do with that. Then yes, there are some people who would rather not talk to a foreigner at all, but it's not universal. If you make an effort in any form, but especially in when you try to speak their language, they do appreciate it a lot. So even when you go order a coffee, like normal situations, day-to-day scenarios, they do appreciate it. They give you a smile, and even if you then switch the language, they would be happy about it. They're like, okay, this person made an effort. And when it comes to social life, I think the same rule applies. Generally, it goes a little bit beyond that, because in order to make friends, let's say, you need to have something in common. A free shout out to daily meetups. I'm not going to charge you for that. This has been an amazing platform. To help people achieve that, to help people do just that, not just like in a professional way, because I've seen people start communities teaching each other skills or joining each other for different activities. But essentially, coming back to the friends part or socializing part, you need to have something in mutual, like in common with that person. Otherwise, like even normally, you don't just become
what
friends.
do you talk about essentially? Like, I mean, I think, yeah, so much more important than like, being the same nationality, same culture. It's like literally, what's the opener essentially?
Yeah.
And I think that's something that is honestly, for me, it's sometimes easier. I mean, honestly, when it comes to strangers, like people I don't know at all, like I find it easier to start speaking to a random expat, an international, than an Estonian, simply because with Estonian, like, what's the opener? What I'm gonna like, I approach someone in the store or like whatever. It's sort of like, hey, like, blah blah blah. What should I ask? With an international, it's sort of like, first of all, being an Estonian, everyone takes it as already like a compliment. Like, oh wow, really cool. Like an Estonian actually approaches me, asks me where I'm from, actually shows interest. And for me, as an Estonian, it's like so easy to do. It's sort of like, boom, I have an opener. But yeah, coming back to the socialization part, would you say like that is the primary thing that we should work on as a country, or just considering in terms of like integrating people and just being more welcome, or are there other aspects that we could still we should be improving? And I don't mean like, honestly, Estonia is a great country, but I'm always on the lookout for what to improve, and what better way to it's to ask than in front of millions of people.
I hope so.
But no, yeah, it's would you say like the social aspect is one, or are there like other little little things that we could do better? It's maybe like
really good question.
Yeah, or like family life, like definitely with Hume, like, you guys must be thinking about that aspect. Like, it's, yeah, have you thought about, Estonia as a place or some other place, some other spot as a place to, raise children, have children, and, even through that prism, perhaps what we could, I don't know, do better.
Okay, multiple questions. Let's
Oh,
go
yeah.
with them one by
Let's
one.
go with one route.
Yeah. So if we talk about integration in general, like from an official perspective, the current integration initiatives, for instance, they focus on parts like, hey, did you get your ID? Or did you get enrolled? Or do you know about this thing or that thing? And it's good. It's helpful. When someone is new to the country, you help them get settled. But I think one thing that can be improved there, and it's just an opinion, like sometimes they have events, they would invite you, and it's like you go to a random bar and you try really hard to talk to others and try to communicate and maybe like form a bond, but it doesn't really happen.
Yeah. And you're talking about like both Estonians and internationals. It's sort of like
generally there are international people, like Estonians don't go to those events.
Yeah. Right.
But one option could be that in Estonia there are a lot of societies and like museums and even like local events. The one that I can remember is, for instance, there was during the summers in Kalamaya, they had this local event.
Yeah, like Kalamaya Days or whatever. It's like a region in Tallinn that I think it's quite literally the name, like where people have fairs and take out a lot of.
So they had this event where you could go in. They were trying to build a garden.
Build a garden?
Yeah, like set up a bonfire space and then plant trees and things like that. And they were inviting like everyone to come, and I went there. It was a really good experience. Now, if as a part of integration, you could offer such opportunities to foreigners, because foreigners don't know about it. I got to know about it through the manager at Study in Estonia. She invited us, essentially. If foreigners had such opportunities, I think that would be good. Like, locals are there, foreigners can come in as well. That is a shared experience. That means that is something to talk about. That is something to look forward to. It could be any activity that can be repeated over time, like after a few weeks, few months, depending on what that.
I do agree that like now when I think about it, seeing both sides, locals do have actually quite a lot of, even though they're like, let's say, public on Facebook, like they are very, when you do go to these events, like that column, I think, perfect example of certain. Yeah, like that are, you have thousands of like attendees, RSVPing, etc. But they are Estonians, like primarily, and that's actually a really interesting point. That that it's sort of, maybe those events should be like somehow like subliminally more clear that hey, everyone is welcome. It's not like just specifically an Estonian thing or something like that.
It was a great experience, and I think as part of the initial integration, that is something that can be done on a bigger scale, not just like dependent on the local communities, but on a more official level. That you could figure out anything that needs to be done by volunteers, invite both locals and foreigners to do it, and they can hopefully, locals can get to learn about foreigners. Foreigners can get rid of that image that, hey, Estonians are really cold. Because, again, that is a shared experience. Probably it's going to involve some physical labor, some discussion, some planning. You might share a bite. So, and this helps you to get to know each other. That would be a really good thing. Now, moving on to the second part.
The family part?
Which was about family.
Yeah.
Estonia, indeed, it's a great country, tech-wise, perfect. It's the part that I love about Estonia, other than tech and being so digital, is the peace and calm, quiet. And I think it is the perfect place to raise a family. One thing which I'm not aware of right now, since I don't have kids, is the possibility of international, like, well, not international schools, but more like public schools where English is also spoken. because I have a feeling that local or public schools, they might be, the language of communication might be Estonian, which makes sense. But
and the international schools, I suppose,
they are insanely expensive. That's what I've heard so far.
Wow. I haven't actually looked into, like, one thing I do know is that the teachers just recently now they need to have, I think, B2 levels of Estonians to actually, even though they are teaching in English, but they sort of raise that. And my theory is that it actually will end up driving away the really good teachers who are like, okay, like, am I really gonna, like, raise my level of Estonian, even though I don't need Estonian to study or, like, not study to teach, or I'm just gonna get another job offer and, like, go teach someplace elsewhere. But now you're saying also that they are expensive.
That's what I've heard so far.
Okay, so that was actually
interestingly, when that condition was introduced, that all teachers in schools, they need to have I think A2 or B1 level.
I think it was literally, like, I think it used to be. Oh, you might be right. I think it used to be A2. I think now it's like B1 or
I'm not sure about the exact level of the language, but when it was introduced, our office was in the same building as International School of Thought.
Oh boy!
So we had.
What was the reaction?
We had some discussions about it. We heard some discussions about that as well. Some people were like, Estonians, like some Estonians, their initial thought was, okay, makes sense. If they want to stay here, they should learn the language. But then others were saying, hey, what if that guy is never going to teach Estonian? He has nothing to do with the language. Like, let's say he's teaching English as a course. He's a foreigner. Why is he required to learn, like, that specific language level of language? But it comes down to the fear that Estonia is a small country. Population is not in, like, hundreds of millions.
And the birth rate right now is 1.18 per woman. It's not something that I maybe should, like, say, but I ran a model basically with ChatGPT how many, like, Estonians there are 100 years by those with that trend. And it's ethnic Estonians. It says like 127,000 to be exact. It says, and we gotta pump up those rookie numbers.
It's about preserving the Estonian ethnicity, the cultural aspects of it, and it does create a certain fear. But I think in Estonia in general, like, what Estonia needs to clarify is, hey, if you're coming to Estonia, these are some of the things that are non-negotiables. So let's say language, one of them. You need to learn the language. Just, like, clarify those things. Hey, this is what we're flexible with. This is what you must have. And then open the doors. So anyone who's okay with that, they can come in. If someone is not, they can just stay.
Yeah. And you haven't encountered anything like that, like, hey, these are because that would actually make a very good, even like a blog article or something, like, these are the non-negotiables or something. It's like, it's a really good idea, actually.
Just a thought.
It's a really good idea because you wouldn't know that ahead of time, and it's not really something that is spoken about, even if you did research, let's say, on, like, Facebook groups or whatever. It's not something that you kind of get the gist, like how important is knowing the language and so forth, but you're absolutely right. There aren't clear lines. What would you? Yeah, so that family thing is one thing. So that school aspect, but is there something that maybe I haven't asked, but you would have liked me to ask, in a way, for lack of a better term, and something else that you would like to talk about?
I think, I mean, if you ask it like that,
off the top of your head, probably not.
I can't really think of anything right away.
But okay,
however, generally, to sum it up, if you ask me, like, hey, if you had a time machine and you go back in time and then you have you are at a point where you were making the decision whether you should go to Estonia or not. Definitely yes. As a country, Estonia has played a huge role in making me who I am. It has helped me grow it as an individual, career-wise, like from every aspect. And I learned a lot in here. It's not perfect, but no country is. Like every country has its pros and cons. And if we look at like the population aspect that we discussed, it is a very unique situation. It's something that not every country is facing. So eventually, yes, we would have to think about it. And a lot of people are already discussing it, and I'm sure they are thinking about it and they have way better ideas than we have.
Hey, I have great ideas, dude.
Meaning sometimes.
I mean, honestly, I would just like I would loosen up the definition of an Estonian. Like, sure, I'm talking about like ethnic Estonians, but like I think that's the thing. We have to prioritize. In a nutshell, we have to prioritize what do we care about most. Is like you have the land of the country, the people of like what's the definition of an Estonian? Like how would Estonians sort of define one? Because like personally, I would see you as an Estonian. You've been here 5 years. You've considered like it's already a long time. You've considered definitely like staying for longer, having family, whatever. But maybe a lot of Estonians probably wouldn't because like I don't know, you don't have a perfect language, whatever. And I think we must loosen up these limits. And then the third thing is like the language, which I think yeah, it's important, but it's at the same time, it's not like I think still maintaining our freedom and our population is more important. And
agree to disagree.
Yeah, go for it.
I agree with the first part, and that's exactly what I was gonna discuss next. That there is a very strict definition of being an Estonian, and in the current circumstances, like not a lot of people accept a foreigner, even though like that person puts an effort, learns the language, they would not accept you like as Estonian. So definitely that's something where things can loosen up a bit. But when it comes to language, I think like that could be added to the non-negotiables that we discussed, because it is essentially a very important part of any country or any culture. So they gotta preserve it, and if any foreigner is coming in, I think they should make an effort on that end. I am trying to.
Yeah.
So now I can say yes, they definitely should make an effort.
I mean, I can see that. No, it's but the thing is, I think it's a good place to sort of wrap up with the thought of, I think it's a really interesting topic that especially Estonians who like think how important is the language. Absolutely, I would say like all Estonians would say like absolutely. But at the same time, how cool would it be if we had our secret language that like no one else knew? Like I would be like, you had 100 years from now, you would have like 100, 200,000, whatever. If it came to that, it's 100, 200,000 speakers and they would have their own secret language. That would be, in a way, really cool. But I digress. In a way. But at the same time, kind of sad.
But
exactly.
If it's about, preserving the essence,
right,
the culture, the values, a lot of that, like that is connected to the language.
Right.
So
yeah,
it is essential. I wouldn't say it's something that can be skipped. I mean, yes, things can be relaxed a little, and which generally, as we discussed, if you are making an effort, that is appreciated, which is a good thing. You're not expected to speak perfect Estonian, at least not right away as soon as you arrive, not in like a couple of years. But eventually, you should learn about it. You should put in some effort on that end.
But yeah, let's as a final thing, I suppose it's everyone should just think like what constitutes an Estonian, and I would say like I think you definitely do, dude. Like it's sort of already like putting in that effort. It's already commendable, and I think I think on that note, I think it's an interesting food for thought to like I said, pump up those population rookie numbers, and you gotta loosen up, man. It's like there's no other way to do that, honestly, to get more people in and to make people out there believe that they are accepted and that there is a way in, for lack of a better term, to being an Estonian, and it like doesn't have to take like 20 years or something. Like 5 years, that should be like doable. Yeah, it should be doable. 5 years is a long time. Thank you, Sohaib. Dude, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It was really nice talking to you.
You too.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll see you soon.
See you around.
See you.